Yes.
Hey, man, you see it as that You Heard podcast, man. Look, we debated this. Izubee's family. Ain't no point in bringing him on after, man. He's got to be on from the get go. You see it, Joe to my left, CB down there eating cinnamon toast, crunch popcorn in the building. You know what I mean? Always some wild shit. Joe drinking water. You gonna figure this out, man. It's that
Is
You
he?
Heard podcasting. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that, man. Let's get into this intro. No time wasted, man. Let's go.
Welcome to the You Heard podcast with your hosts, Ben, Joe, and CB. We're here to cover everything related to Miami Hurricanes football, from hot topics to pre- and post-game analysis.
All right,
Okay,
we'll
yeah,
talk
please.
about it at the end. We'll talk about it.
No, let's talk about that right now because you completely flipped it on me now.
I hate him for knowing this, bro. This man knew the brand, dog.
Okay, I don't appreciate that. I'm saying, like, I don't
I
appreciate
mean, what did you say? What are we talking about, son?
Get into it. I feel
Keeping it a buck.
You heard?
yeah, man. Hey, Izubee in the building. He still gets the air horn.
I haven't seen that intro. I like that new intro. It's fire.
No, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, man. Shout out to my
That's
guy,
fine.
man. You know what I'm saying? My guy from, you know what I'm saying, military fellow vet. I was with him in Hawaii, man. He's a producer. Joe and CB always tells me to not give out the name. You know what I'm saying? Keep that to ourselves. So, Izubee, I'll tell you about that after when you're doing your own thing, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? How y'all doing, fellas? What's good? What's good, Joe?
We got that 4-0 feeling, man. You know what I mean? Undefeated feeling out here. Looking good.
What up, CB?
Win energy, man. 4-0. Got the bye week so that you can
Yeah.
rest up a little bit. Offense look good. Defense look good. Recruiting's looking good. So, yeah, good moods, man. Good mood all the way around.
Yes, sir. Izubee, what's popping, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm happy. Watched a good game yesterday. Dominated. Good Sunday. Hurricanes are up 4-0. Dolphins are winning too. Shout out to my Dolphin fans. Just blew out Denver. So now everything's good. Everybody's healthy. That was one thing I was happy to see. Obviously some bumps and bruises at the end, but bye week coming up, and then the grind starts. ACC play starts in 2 weeks. So we'll see how
buddy.
Yeah, man. I tell y'all, I'll keep it a buck with y'all, man. When Matt Lee did that crazy thing with his leg, did the stanky leg, I was like, please no, Matt. Matt, walk it off. I wanted Mario to run onto the field, carry him. Let's say carry him to the sideline. Please tell me, yo, that.
Yeah.
I was like, no, man, no.
I wanted guys out probably a drive or two before they actually pulled them.
Fam, when TBD pulled that read option and was running, I was like, please slide, go out of bounds.
Yeah,
something.
just fall.
Man.
Just fall.
Yes.
Like, I don't care if you fall awkwardly.
No, I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I wanted them to pull guys, and then who got pushed? Somebody got pushed on it was either like a kickoff or something. They pushed one of our guys late. Was it Brashard?
Well, it started with Jacoby.
All I know is they pushed somebody down, and when they did, I was like, all right, put another 7 on them. Like, don't. Yeah, no, I ain't gonna hold you. I tweeted it. I was like, all right, no, I'm kidding. Put another 7 on them real quick, because for some reason they still disrespectful. So I was like, nah, go ahead and leave TVD and put another 6 on them. Maybe they'll get the message at that point.
I was a big fan of the Jacoby George being spiked on the sideline when it was a dude on the bench talking shit to him, and he handed him the football like, yo, you get in the game just in case. Here you go. Yeah. I was like, all right, respect. Yeah. Respect. Yeah. Oh, man.
Hey, real talk, you get a penalty for that. I once handed a ball to a DB and said some things. I got a penalty for that.
Is that the game that you gave up, that your team gave up 350 yards rushing? Or
I was playing defense my senior year. This is my junior year. I just handed him the football and said some things, and I got a flag.
All right.
Refs frown upon that sort of situation.
That's that Texas football, man. That's that Bible Belt football. Man.
Yeah, we used to get our touchdowns called back if we celebrated. We couldn't celebrate on the field.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. If you celebrated your touchdown, like if you dance. That's why when I started watching a lot of South Florida football, especially last year, and I would see Chaminade dancing and stuff, I was like, oh, y'all could do that down there? Like they're a little bit more lax now, but when I'm telling you, like I got homeboys who stanky legged, and it was 3rd and 10 again. I'm not even joking with you. So we used to have to like run back to the sideline, and then we like dance on the sideline or something. But if you celebrated, like how dudes be doing their little first down, they would call that back. You would still be pointing first down. It would be 2nd and 20, because you decided to be CD Lamb.
That's insane. That's insane.
All the fun gone.
The fun police was out there. All right, fellas, let's break this down, man. We'll start with you, Izubee, man. What did you like? We'll start with that. What did you like about Miami's performance against Temple?
I liked the run game, man. That was something that I was like, it was needed. The weather wasn't the hottest, so I don't think you want to be tossing the rock out there. So that was kind of one of the things I wanted to see. Can they continue to run the ball? Can that running back room continue to show up? And they did. I saw Don Chaney on the first drive, had like 6 carries for 30-something yards. I was like, okay, he was doing his thing. Henry Parrish came in, did his thing. Mark Fletcher was back out there. He looked like he didn't even miss a beat, had a touchdown called back. But that run game, that whole offensive line, Tyler Van Dyke had time when he was dropping back there. He wasn't, hurried at all. He was getting through his progressions, making all the right reads because he had like 2 days to throw back there. And that offensive line, I feel like every single game, they're just getting better and better and better. Francis is like, I was talking to one of my buddies yesterday. They used to play football at UCF with Matt Lee, just talking about, him and that offensive line. He's saying, man, that's the best Matt's ever looked. And we talked about Francis a little bit, and like it's unprecedented to have a true freshman start at right tackle, and just for him to be progressing this well, for the whole offensive line to be looking that good, I'm just really excited. That was kind of the thing that I was happiest the most to see.
CB, before you give your likes, man, I was Francis's first game with no holds, so that's already an improvement. He had no holds yesterday, so that was dope. Or Saturday when we drop on Monday. CB, what'd you like about yesterday's performance?
Offensive line, man. Matt Lee and Cohen, they've got a couple plays where they pull both of them. Chef's kiss. Cohen is nasty in space. He's on a couple of those screens, like my boy 30 yards downfield. Like he's on his 3rd person blocking. On one of them, bro, they had him pull with like the coolest reach back on it with his hand to still get his guy, and then go in space, nailed somebody, and then was like, who next? Like Cohen he's like the Terminator out there. It's awesome seeing that offensive line get that kind of push. The 3-headed dragon at receiver, of course, everyone looked good. They all get theirs, and they all do it in a little bit of a different way. I love that. 323 yards on the ground, man. I'd be remiss if my one and only like is not the offensive line. That's one thing that we were all worried about coming in. Would they gel? How would they gel with the experience? Do we have a left tackle? Do we not have a left tackle? How's the kid going to hold up at right tackle? Also, some of the reserves at offensive line. When Matt Lee went down, looked
Ryan Rodriguez
looked really good.
Roll that R. You rolled that R, Joe. That's all I'm talking
when
about.
Samson came in, I basically had my eyes glued to Samson the entire time. He's going to be special as well. So my big is the offensive line, and the future is just bright. When you get to see some of these younger guys come in, Jaden Wayne looked great at defensive end. Almost got a sack a couple times. Thomas Gore looking good. So the reserves, guys that are getting their chance to get reps in some of these early games, are starting to really, really look good. So that's good because you need that depth, man.
Yep. Joe, what you got, brother?
Yeah, same thing, man. 323 yards rushing to 11. They had 11 yards rushing, and most of that came on the last drive, keeping it a buck. I like averages, man. We averaged almost 8 yards per rush. They averaged under 1 yard per carry. That's incredible. I don't care who you're playing. That's incredible. You know what I mean? Defensively. I like the receivers attacking the ball. The Kobe Young catch. There were a few catches. Yeah, both of them. There were a few catches where, receivers had to come back to the ball and they attacking the ball. I love the way they looked. Yeah, that's it, man. Brashard almost broke another kick return. So special teams showing out. Yeah, man, beautiful. I love the offensive line play, like everyone else said. So.
Obviously, I'm saying offensive line, that's a consensus. It's been incredible. I'm saying? So all kudos to them. I'm gonna say, just to go a little bit different, I'm gonna give some flowers to Corey Couch, man. I know he got kind of toasted on that one where the field was a little slippery. You could tell he was trying to figure out how to plant his steps. But the way he responded, that would have years ago to Corey Couch wouldn't have responded that way with 2 picks. So, what I'm saying? We have our issues that we'll talk about now with the secondary man, but to Corey Couch, like those are the little things I try to get from these games, right? Like how they respond to even their like individual adversity. Like to Corey Couch getting toasted wouldn't have got that second chance to respond to that. So that's dope. Francis again, no holds. The offensive line. Look, we talked about it, Joe, right? Like we knew this was going to be the Miami Ohio game plan. Like it's going to be rainy, it's going to be bad. Just run the ball. Bad weather, a lot of underthrown balls. So yeah, man. So just shout out to TC. All right, let's work in reverse order now. Joe, what were your dislikes for our performance? 41-7 victory against Temple.
I felt like defensively we were a little lax at times. I think I have to watch the game again. But I think there were some breakdowns in the secondary, breakdowns defensively. They had a receiver go 10 for 117 yards. And they threw for almost 300 yards. Granted, they threw, 40-something times. But there were some breakdowns. We got caught with the back out the backfield again, couple plays where I think oh gosh, why did I just lose? Who's number 18? The DN.
Jaden Wayne.
Jaden was caught up. I don't know if he got caught playing man on the back or he was in a zone, but he got caught a couple times and we lost sight of the back out a couple times. So that hurt us, and that's going to continue to hurt us if we don't. I don't know. I don't know what we're doing there. But on defense, at times it looked a little bit lackadaisical. That's pretty much it. That's been my concern for a minute. I feel like we've gotten away with some stuff because we haven't played solid quarterbacks except for Connor Wegman. But I feel like we've gotten away with a lot of things so far, which will show up when we get into conference play. So hopefully we tighten that up. But that's it, man.
CB?
There's not much that I honestly disliked from this game. There's just a little bit of crossing T's and dotting I's I want to see. There's a couple busted coverages. There was just some things that Temple doesn't have the ability to hurt you when you make that mistake, but Clemson will. We had a busted coverage, a receiver streaking down the seam, and it was just like an overthrow by EJ. But another quarterback holds that for that split second one more time, or just for like a little bit longer. He'll take that hit, and that ball will be accurate. That ball will be on target or in the vicinity of the receiver. And it will be, no disrespect to the receiver, it will be a higher caliber receiver that is going to go up and make that play. So there's just a couple things that we've done that it's like we'd have gotten burned a couple times. Other than that, I'm going to be honest, didn't really seem like they lost or lacked focus in the game, even when they got up. I like the hustle I'm seeing from the team. I like the fight that you see from them, especially when you see the reserves come in. They're all playing hard. They're flying around with their heads on fire because they're all trying to impress. Just small things I'd say that I didn't like, but nothing huge. Just cross some T's and dot some I's. To me, that's what these games are for. They're take care of business games, but they're also do the small things right. No mental mistakes. Try to avoid those those lapse in communications in the secondary, because that's all that is. That's just a lapse in communication, and all that gets better obviously when Cam is back in. But you shouldn't lose that level of communication that bad with Cam out. I'm always one of those guys that it's like you can't blame something on one guy, or you can't say that the defense isn't disciplined because Cam's the heart and soul. Yeah, but there's 10 other dudes out there that need to hold themselves accountable. His backup should be listening to every check Cam makes. There shouldn't be that big of a drop off. So I don't like to just say, oh, well, next week when Cam's back, or in 2 weeks when Cam's back, we'll have that communication. Because to me, if it's an issue, it needs to be fixed. And it looks like it was just communication on the back end. So that could be just Jaden Harris growing into that role. He's young. Just got to be a little bit better at communicating. Other than that, everything looked good. Sometimes the diving, the tackling, throwing shoulders, we were kind of doing that a little bit in the third quarter, where I'm like, all right, guys, break down, chalk your feet, and wrap up. Like, I know it's when you got somebody like this, you got them down, you want to make a highlight play, you want to make a hit stick. But again, those bad tendencies carry, that they stay with you. So other than that, I just think it's just little things, just some crossing some T's and dotting some I's, things that I know the position coaches are probably already harping on. So other than that, I think the team came out and they gave a great effort, man.
Izubee, what you got, brother?
Yeah, no, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I'm agree with CB and Joe. Kind of, I mean, it was a good game all around, but the biggest thing that I was kind of just like, all right, this might be a problem is the secondary, and some coverages kind of looked a little iffy. The first time I kind of noticed it was Bethune-Cookman. I think they missed on like 2 times with the wide receiver out the back, kind of running a wheel route. And then I'm just like,
yes,
all right, if someone's gonna see that and check that off, all right, this is where we gotta attack Miami. Just little things like that. Jaden Wayne got caught in coverage. Obviously, I'm not expecting the defensive end to keep up with the running back. That's kind of questionable. That reminded me when D-Jack last year was guarding the FSU running back out the back. I was like, that's not something I like seeing. But obviously, I'm not getting paid millions of dollars to call these defensive plays, so I'm not going to say too much about it. But I feel like in the second half, they kind of tightened up a little bit in the secondary. You didn't see, as big as, plays or kind of bust where it's like, all right, E.J. Warner might have hit this guy. It would have been a completely different story. But all in all, I feel like it was a good game on both sides as well. Like you mentioned, TC got those 2 picks. Defensive line did their thing. Ruben May was getting back there. You want to mention, I think Leonard Taylor, this is kind of the game he really, really needed.
Oh, yeah.
Living in the backfield for a little bit, I feel like this kind of turned him up and got his head right heading into the bye week. But, besides the little lapses in the secondary, which they kind of fixed in the second half, I couldn't, I don't think there was anything you could say, hey, they should work on, or hey, this is a bad thing. Obviously, there's room for improvement everywhere on the field, but I feel like Miami's kind of been solid, been doing what they're supposed to do, and you can't complain with that. Just hopefully Guidry kind of figures out what's going wrong. And like CB mentioned, Cam's not, absence shouldn't be, oh, this is why they're doing this, but it shouldn't, be like that with one guy missing. But I feel like that'll get situated in the bye week. I'm really happy there's a bye week, coming up. Everybody gets healthy. You look at the little things, work on that, and then, Georgia Tech heads down to Hard Rock and give them the business to start 5-0 headed to UNC.
Yeah, man. I think one of my dislikes to go a little bit, I think was the I don't want to say pass rush, but it just off the edge, right? Like you could go with the I'm saying Ruben Bain getting held and stuff like that, but we're missing that speed guy, right? Like I didn't see that guy that like immediately in the backfield. Like Ruben Bain is just effort and motor and all that stuff. Like we're missing Jada Wayne's, still young. But you can see, I think these last 2 games, you can see the difference of not having like an Akeem Mesidor, right? Or Nigel Lee Kelly's coming back. He played a couple snaps.
Yeah.
But he's still hurt. Yeah, look, man, the defensive end covering the running back has to be addressed. Like that's too many times now. And against way lesser competition. Everybody talked about it. So that's got to be looked at. He got hit. I think when he got hit for that big play, it was like on an option route with the running back where he could have gone out, but cut in and just completely toasted him. But Jaden Wayne's, he does, what I'm saying? Like that's not his strong suit. So we got to figure that out. There's got to be a linebacker or a safety over there. I'm not a fan of the defensive end in the flat, so that wasn't a good look. But yeah, man, secondary. But I think it was one of those where they just handled business, ran the ball, got out of there. Thankfully, no serious injuries. Big thing for me was the fact that Cam and Mesidor and everybody traveled with the team. That lets you know, and I think Branson D was there too. Lets you know that the injuries aren't too serious.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying, because they're also able to stay at home, getting that extra time for PT. So that's a good look. But yeah, man, like it's strange looking at another business trip. You know what I'm saying? Business like performance. Like yo, get in, get out, because this is a completely different team than last year. Where like everything just kind of seemed like a struggle. Here's like yo, we're gonna run the ball down your throat and just enjoy this, and that's just what it is. You know what I mean? So that
To
was dope.
the to the Jaden Wayne play, I do want to give Gidry a little bit of credit on that. When you draw up that concept, you're not necessarily supposed to have that much time for that route to develop for that running back, that option route. Usually, if you're gonna drop that defensive end, that means you either brought a safety or you're bringing a linebacker in his place. You are supposed to get immediate pressure. So just in case that running back is your hot, you're not. If that makes any sense to anybody listening, that you're not supposed to have something slow developing like a running back option route out the backfield still be an option for the quarterback on a play like that. So when you drop that defensive end back, it's usually not a liability. Now, if you don't get home, then you have a problem because that running back is probably making that second move at the top of that route, and you're probably. But also that could be a personnel thing. Remember, Jaden is playing now, getting experience on the field, but that could probably we saw Nigel Leak doing that in the first couple games, right? And we saw him almost have a pick doing that. So try to think of that as that's probably Nigel Leak's role. You know what I mean?
That's hard though, CB. Like I know exactly what you're saying. That's still hard to act. That's a hard act.
Yeah, it is.
Nigel
it is
Leak
a hard
athletic freak. Nigel Leak is an athletic freak. Like he's a, you know what I mean?
But you don't want to do that against Shipley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
if it is, you probably want to scheme your personnel different. Like as much as people don't like to we haven't seen him a lot. To me, that's Cyrus Moss. That's where you need to get Cyrus Moss going, where he can be that option. Former safety still has that speed in the open field. But yeah, to Joe's point, we don't really want our big pass rusher or our future a guy who we think is going to be a star for us in the future as a pass rusher. We don't want him out there on guys like Jordan Shipley. But it's not a terrible play call, is what I was trying to get at. But for that to work, you do need that pressure to hit home immediately. Because if not, then there's a running back out there at the top of his route about to make some defensive end look bad. It's the same thing if we get that matchup. We do the same thing. We would just hope TBD could hang in there a little bit longer because you're going to find the matchup at that point. And same thing anytime
TBD has all day.
Bring a corner.
The time for TBD that TBD has is very different than anybody else's. Like a lot of times my internal clock is like, hey, TBD, get rid of the ball. TBD. Like, no, there's
ain't
nobody
really played
around
no dogs up front yet though. That's one thing. Our offensive line haven't. Them dogs didn't bark as well as we thought they would.
We saw what they can do against Auburn. They kicked their ass, boy.
Again, Auburn. But I want to see them battle tested a little bit. Like I do want to see the offensive line battle tested. But I think they'll be fine if they are battle tested because they have the wisdom and the leadership in the middle. And I think the football Cohen and Lee have seen, bro. I don't think no matter who they play, it's nothing for Cohen to be like, oh, you having trouble with this inside move? That used to bother me my sophomore year. Do this. Like I know how it is when somebody faster than you could just do this. Trust me. Like, and so I think that's huge. Something that we haven't really talked about a lot. The veteran leadership on this team has been really good this year. How many stills do we see from this weekend of Cam on the sideline, whole DB room surrounding him and him coaching? Well, we can't see what he's saying because it's a photo, but you see him pointing and talking. Like I think the veteran leadership on this team has been just really, really good. If I can add one more little like to drop off in there, the veterans, man, especially the transfers. It seems like they've done great, and that's how you set the tempo for being great long term, or for building a championship culture long term. The seniors have to set the standard, the juniors and seniors have to set it, the underclassmen have to continue it, and then set it, and then continue it, and that's how you build a championship culture.
See, but you said something in there that I want to redirect to what I'm saying, our guest, our family member, man. This is Izubee right here. When do we start worrying about our lack of getting there to the quarterback? Like we've seen tons of pressures and all these things, but like you saw again, I think we talked about it, CB, the day before, right? When I was out, or earlier in the day was like EJ Warner's like Great Valley Drake May, right? And you saw that touchdown that they had was very similar to the touchdown Drake May had last year on us. So when do we start worrying about our lack of sacks and just going, oh, but we pressure him? Like, I understand like getting him off the spot, but at some point we got to start worrying about knocking down the quarterback, right?
Yeah, no. So this is gonna kind of sound weird, but I feel like we shouldn't start worrying about it until it becomes like a serious issue. Like obviously you want to, sack the quarterback, you want to get those sacks, you want to run it up, but it's not like, this is a serious issue that's happening. Like obviously we see the kind of lapses in the secondary. That's an issue. Like, all right, we need it to, happen. With the rush, I feel like they're getting there. It's just like 1 or 2 second off for a hold, just kind of holding somebody back. Obviously, you can't say, oh, that's the issue why they're not getting sacks, but the pressure's there. Obviously, you're missing a Messidor who was a big part of that rush. You're missing Isaac Kelly who's kind of working his way back. But I feel like until it's a serious problem where it kind of affects a game in a way where it's like, okay, we need to get this fixed right now, then that's when I'm going to really start worrying about it. But for now, I'm kind of like, okay, it's getting there. It's a work in progress. It's not a glaring issue where it's like, this is bad. This is awful. We're not getting any pressure on the quarterback. He's in there all day. But once it becomes a serious issue, like, okay, this is what we need to work on. That's when I'll kind of be a little bit more anxious, a little bit more, wanting to see that them do something, dial something up to fix that problem. Right now, I'm cool on that. I'm enjoying it. I'm happy that the defense is doing good, but I think it's too crazy right now.
All right. Joe, what you got?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's a huge problem. Listen, when we talk about the blitzing, the pressure, and people being, open, to CB's point, there's always going to be somebody in a mismatch or somebody in a stressful situation because the pressure is designed to get there, right? So if somebody doesn't, if we don't get home, something's going to be open. You know what I mean? So somebody's going to be in a mismatch. So now I'm not worried. I want to see. I'm sure we will see, but I want to see the front four get there without having to pressure. But I don't think Guidry is not going to pressure regardless. Even if the front four can get there, Guidry wants the pressure, man. That's like
always,
his DNA. You know what I mean? So, but I would like to see if we can just get there with the front four, consistently. But that'll come. We'll see, because when we play somebody like, Jordan Travis, Drake May, who can get out the pocket and will get out the pocket, if we pressure, and that's another kind of concern I have, the pressure packages kind of anyway, when we play them
outside containment.
I was wondering, like, that pause is weird.
And we pressure and they get out the pocket, we're gonna have to contain them. We're gonna have to, not give up the edge, give up the outside contain when we pressure them, man. So hopefully, we'll be able to just pressure with four and sit back and spy or whatever. So
CB, real quick, man. You think this shows how important Nakeem Mesidor has been to this defensive line? Like, because right now all the focus has kind of been shifted to a Ruben Bain, right? Because he's, the motor and all this stuff, and with Nigel Lee being out, you throw in Nakeem Mesidor, that changes how the offensive line approaches that front four.
Yeah, but I think to say that would be to undermine how guys like Harvey have looked this year. I don't. I'd say there's someone else, and like we said earlier, you don't want to put it on one person, but Cam not being at safety changes who you want to send, right? We didn't really see them bump down Wes Basant like we had in the previous couple games and bring him off the edge or in the middle. Why? Because Cam ain't back there to bail you out, so we may want to keep that other dude in coverage. We didn't really see them bring James at all, or have James kind of flying around the field coming off the left end or the right end, because you probably want to have James in the back end while you don't have KK5 out there. So the scheming probably is a little bit different when you don't have your ball hawking safety. So I think that'll change. I think guys like the next man up has played well, man. Jafari Harvey's played well. JH has played well. I don't think it's a Messidor not being their thing. I think it's one of those things. Like, if I could steal a term from baseball, it's one of those base hits over double situation. Like, it will come. We are putting the ball in play. We are getting pressure. The doubles, the triples, the home runs will come, but we are putting the ball in play. Guys are getting to the quarterback. We're one of the highest end quarterback pressures in the country at the moment.
Yep.
So I think it's one of those things where one of those games we're going to have 11 pressures and 1 sack. The next game we're going to have 10 pressures and 6 sacks. I think it's a situation where EJ was getting the ball out like a split second before guys were getting there. If you look at it, I think Jaden would have had 1 or 2. Bain would have had 1 or 2. Leonard Taylor probably would have had 2 or 3 sacks if EJ didn't evade him and get outside the pocket. And then there's guys like Branton Dean that weren't there in the middle, and he's really good at getting up the field and being an effective pass rusher. So I wouldn't put it on not having someone on the defensive line, but I think not having your ball hawking safety changes how you scheme and who you want to send.
That's a great point. Hey, Joe, you want to do your thing?
When we get the ACC play, the refs might start calling.
Sorry, you broke up. You have bad internet now. What'd you say?
Hello.
What'd you say?
The refs might start calling.
When we get the ACC play, the refs might start calling holds, and that may help a little.
Whistles don't really work.
Not against Miami. Whistles don't work the same.
Work.
The whistles don't work the same. Hey man, Joe's about to do his.
We should bribe him with oatmeal cream pies.
That's not. They would like that. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into this Caneswear ad, man. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome to Caneswear. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has all latest merchandise for the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Inter Miami Soccer, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of I-595, or online at Caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Hey man, as always, quick little update with that. It's 2655 South University. They're in a new location, man. So make sure to go check them out, man. Brett and Jeff will always take care of you, man. It's like family every time we go up in there, man. All right. So we talked about Temple, talked about the defense. Now it's time for a progress report in a way. You know what I'm saying? First quarter grades, man. You know what I'm saying? 4 games out. The month is over. Izubee, let's start it off with you, my brother. What grade would you give the University of Miami overall? So we'll do the overall, then we'll come back around for the, the different positions and all that. So overall, what grade would you give them?
I'm going with the A right now. Like they're passing. You think that's? Let me break it down.
No, I was burping and I was trying not to burp on the mic, so I was trying to funnel the burp.
I was saying I'm doing crazy talk right now, but
no, I was trying to burp off camera, off the mic, and it looked bad.
It looked crazy.
I'm giving it an A right now because obviously a lot of people, during the build up to the season, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, this is 8 wins max, 7-6, or 5-7-5. I mean, these guys are blah 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 blah. We're a year away still." And I was very, very confident in this team, and I feel like they're showing everything that they kind of talked about. We're going to get this offensive line, and we're going to build up front. We're going to dominate in the trenches. Wide receivers are going crazy. Tyler Van Dyke looks amazing. The rushing game's there. Defensively, it's solid. Like Joe said, 11 rushing yards, versus Temple last week. All around, I feel like everyone saw there's not one position group that I'm still like, oh, these guys are kind of, lacking behind everywhere. I feel like everywhere you look on the field, every position group has progressed in the right direction from last year looking to this year. So kind of just going off to where we were last year, week 4, coming off getting blown out by Middle Tennessee State and, 2-2 compared to now 4-0. You're healthy for the most part. You're going into the bye week. You're number 18 team in the country. So I'm going to have to give it an A right now for my grade so far.
CB?
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go with A. I think you can only do what's in front of you, right? We've taken care of business. We had best opponent on the schedule, which is actually looking like a better opponent that's on our schedule as the season progresses. A&M is a pretty good team. I think we all knew Connor Wegman was pretty good. I don't think we all knew that he was, this good, this tough. Like, that's a tough kid. But we're not here to talk about them. So I agree with Izubee, man. We've taken care of business. The things that we were trepidatious about coming into the year, the offensive line, the secondary, the receivers, are we going to push the ball down the field? Long catches of the year, 48, 64, 44, 52. I think we've done pretty good with going vertical. We've got that three-headed dragon. It's been working in the backfield. I mean, there's 4 of them that could probably start in most places in the country, and we're lucky enough to have all 4 of them. They've mixed in the transfers really well. In our coordinators, I have to give a shout out to them Cajun Canes, man. We were all curious to see how this offense would look, how the air raid would look. Is Mario going to let him do his thing? Is he going to run the football? We have seen Coach Dawson is a maestro on offense. His play calling is awesome. He seems like he's got so much in that bag of tricks of his. We've seen a little sprinkle of what he's got for Ray, and I guarantee you he's got more. On defense, Coach Guidry, his defense has just been fun to watch. The way he stunts and moves guys around up front, it's just fun to watch again. Just sitting and watch, like if you're one of those people that does rewatches because you want to focus on a position group or something. Like when you're rewatching, you're like, I'm gonna watch the defensive line. It's just fun. It's like, oh, they did that. Like, oh, okay, that was cool. That was a cool little stunt there. I didn't know they was gonna move him like that. And then you go back to the offense, and you're like, oh, so we pulled everybody on this play. That's crazy. Like, it's fun to watch again. The schemes themselves are fun to watch, and recruits take notice. So that's something we were all a little bit worried about coming in, right? Like, is the defense gonna be schemed, the way we wanted to? We're tired of seeing 15, 20 yards off from DBs. And I know you guys were me in the past few years screaming at the TV. Why are we playing soft zone? Why are we giving so much cushion? If you don't have the experience, use the athleticism you have. You guard him, man, please. Like, and we're seeing just a difference in style of play on the offensive and defensive side, and it's fun to watch again. Just from a fan standpoint, when they come out in the red zone, we're not biting our nails. We're like, ooh, I wonder what he gonna call. Like, it's a different feel, right? Like 3rd and long, I pray we get off the field, or ooh, what he gonna dial up. It's a different feel this year. So I give it an A, and all the things we were worried about, they've addressed. Now we've got other concerns now that come with hitting your expectations. I wouldn't say they're concerns that we would have even had before the season. 4-0 concerns are different than 2-2 concerns, right? We want to cross T's and dot I's at 4-4. At 2-2, we're trying to figure out what went wrong and can we prevent it from going wrong again. So we're just in a different mindset in a space in our minds right now this year. And look, man, that's fun. So shout out to our coordinators, dog. Shout out to them Cajun Canes.
Facts. Joey.
Salute. Yeah, man, everything they said. I have to go with an A. I mean, you're 4-0. Why wouldn't it be an A?
4.0. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? We top 15 in the country in total offense and total defense.
Insane.
So yeah, exciting. To CB's point, it looks like we're playing 2023 brand of football, right? We're not behind the 8 ball anymore. We're not, we don't have an offense that is old school and can't scheme. We don't have a coordinator who can't scheme up plays and get us a first down when we need it on 3rd and 1. We can actually get that. We can actually run the ball and get it.
Easily.
We don't have to, run a tight end screen or something silly to get a first down, to get a yard or something like that.
Or you talk about we wouldn't run a jet sweep with a receiver on
you know, for 1 yard, you know what I mean? A flea flicker, you know what I mean, on 3rd and 1, you know. So
because some offensive coordinators is out here calling jet sweeps on 3rd and 1.
I'm so glad we haven't seen a flea flicker this year, man.
I don't want to see one. I don't want to see one. Like,
I mean,
Ryan Day actually called that shit. He called
Heartline.
Yeah, right.
Who called him that? I want to know who called. Hey, it's one of them, right?
Ryan Day said.
But when they huddle, Heartline be on the outside. I ain't gonna hold you.
What y'all got going on?
Heartline be like
over the, you know, what I'm saying, like over the fence. Like, yo, y'all
good?
good?
Did anyone hear what he said though? Like,
what y'all call X? What? No, yeah, forgot here.
He be looking at chicks in the crowd.
He recruiting the crowd. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah,
man.
But definite. You know, it's the first quarter, and we came out unscathed. You know, people. You know what the media was saying. We know there's certain media people, you know, saying, you know, PTSD. I can't knock anybody for saying we're not gonna win 8 games or 7. You know what I mean? I can't knock it. You know, but you know how we felt.
Yeah.
You know how we felt. You know what I mean? We all everybody has receipts. You know, everybody keeps receipts.
All ours are on video. You can find them.
All you gotta do is look at it. You know what we said. So but you know, that bottom line, man. So
yeah.
I like
I'm gonna go.
I like receipts from people who told me my quarterback wasn't going to be any good. I like receipts from people who told me my head coach would never have a successful offense because quarterbacks don't like playing for him. I like receipts.
Receipts all day. We put our faces behind it so you know it's real. Liars. Look, I'm gonna give it
It's not personal. It came from the soul.
At the end, just liars.
Yeah,
I got a question.
I got
a question for everybody quickly.
Let me get my grade first, and I'm gonna give very quickly. I'm gonna give an A purely for the play call that Shannon Dawson called with the Jacoby George at the goal line where he looked. That was A. I didn't need it. I didn't see shit else. That happened. I almost. I'm a grown ass man, dog. I'm in the stadium, damn near crying. I was like, I didn't know we could do that. I didn't know we had somebody that like
that was allowed in Miami. What are we doing?
Wait a second. They could adjust a play call on just like that, and they could listen to their coaches. Yo, offensive line, y'all know me, trenches all day. Offensive line has been spectacular. CC's getting better game by game, man. So you see the growth. But yeah, man, A all around. What you got, CB?
Have y'all had your moment when you realize, all right, I can trust again? Because last year, and it goes back to that Jacoby George play, right? Because we had the goal line, and it was second down, wasn't it?
Yep.
That was second down. So I'm in front of my TV screaming, "Don't get cute, run the fucking football!" And then he schemes up that play, and I was like, all right, Corey, this ain't last year's Canes. You're gonna have to trust Dawson. Like, it's okay. You can you can breathe when we're in the red zone. Because last year it really felt like I needed to scream something in the atmosphere to where somebody would listen. And then this year I feel like Dawson was like, "Shut up, I got this." I don't really.
What he told Mario. That's what he told Mario. Yeah, that's what he told Coach Cristobal. Hey man,
give me that little moment where I was like, "Oh, I need to trust Dawson." Like I feel like I can relax. And again, now my question is different. What is he gonna dial up versus? I hope he just keeps it simple and runs the goddamn football. Like, don't get cute. Now I'm like, all right, get cute, bro. Do something.
Do what you do.
Go ahead and get.
I
had that moment. Have y'all had that moment so far with either one of the coordinators?
Yeah, I had the moment after we went down versus Texas A&M, and I was just like, "Oh God, this is happening again." I was in that press box sweating, and I wasn't even, sweating or nothing. And then I just see how they played, and everyone was cool, calm, collected. They came down and scored when they needed to. I think it was Kobe Young's touchdown when he was in the flats. They came down, they scored that. I said, "Okay, this looks a little different now. It's not, everybody's not going crazy. You don't see people slamming stuff. You don't see people. Everyone's calm, cool, collective. So at that moment, they end up winning the game. I was like, all right, this is a different team. This is not last year's team. Tyler said it in the post game conference. Last year's team would have quit. We're different this year. So that was kind of my moment. Like, all right, maybe things are changing in the right direction. These coordinators are going crazy. Crystal ball's nice. Everything's good. So that was kind of my moment so far.
Joe.
Yeah. Coach Guidry, I trusted Coach Guidry when he was hired. So I already knew about Coach Guidry. I was very confident in what he would bring to the table. It was just for me about the personnel. But I knew that he was an outstanding teacher. That's first. That's the most important thing to me, being able to teach and reach the players. Coach Dawson, I had some reservations until Texas A&M. The way we finished them, you know what I mean? Finish them. He Mortal Kombated them boys off the field,
Yeah.
So when we the last pass to Jacoby George, man, the last touchdown, I was like, okay, he's not messing around, man. He's gonna finish Cat. So that was my moment. In Chapel Hill, I need to see. I still need. I don't know, man. Texas A&M.
We don't.
I never thought was a good team anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I need to see at Chapel Hill. I need to see Clemson. When I see us beat them, then I'll be a little bit more like, all right, we coming for lunch money now.
That's real. That's real for sure.
Yeah.
So I had 3 moments that were like, okay, this isn't, and that kind of cured my PTSD of 20 years. Given first quarter, perspective of it. When LT got that personal foul and he got pulled, showed accountability. Love that. Yesterday, that touchdown, that going up to get it from Kobe Young, shows confidence and insane ability. And just look, the Jacoby George already talked about it, that play. But just the confidence that KB has instilled in his receivers, they just seem like they're always going to catch the ball. You know what I mean? Like, it seems so different now that they're like, look, Jacoby George doesn't behave the way he behaved yesterday. Like, I'm going to get the ball every time and I'm going to talk to you while I do it. And I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do and I'm going to do it and you ain't going to do shit about it. Because I'm going to run the fuck out of this route every single time.
Enjoy it.
It's fantastic. Look, I've said it. My qualms and my issues with Jacoby George have been, what they are. Again, you can watch the receipts on, and I've said it, and I put myself out there. But I've never questioned his route running. That's one thing that that dude on routes has been spectacular. You never know which way he's going to go. And now he's playing with confidence, and I love it, man. So, yeah. But that Jacoby George, half running back, it was a wrap for me. That's all I needed to see. That was it. Just to have coordinators.
It was cool that we got razzle dazzle. I was like, we can get cute and it's not annoying. Like, cause I'm telling you, I was screaming. I was like, bro, if you don't hand this thing to Chaney and we punch this thing in, I saw a man in motion. I was like, what is he? Oh.
No. And we also find different ways to win, right? Like, you don't know what game we're gonna give you. Like, we can throw for 500 yards and it'd be cool. But we could run for 250 on you real easy with 3 guys running the ball 8 times, man. Like, that's different. So you don't know what you're gonna, and it's not. It's not conservative running the ball though.
Yeah,
it's not game man. It's like, yo, I'm trying to take it to the motherfucking house, and you could see how the competition. What we've always talked about. We've had talent in spurts, right, in different areas. But now when you have talent and depth, look how much better Henry Parrish looks. He did not look like this last year. That's the comparison. Don Chaney was out. That's really the only comparison we have. Henry Parrish looks like a completely different running back from one year to the next. And that's credit to development and competition. That vision he has now, he didn't give him the space is different because of the offensive line pushing everybody the fuck away. But that's just been different for me, man. So, yeah.
And let me tell you, running lanes will change you as a running back. I tell you what, actually having space as a running back will change you. It's different versus thinking I got to make the first guy miss at the second level versus the second I get the ball, I got to make 2 or 3 guys miss, or there is no space, or I have to give 150 effort on this to get 3 yards in a cloud of dust. I think it's a different mindset from our running backs this year. Holes are open. Edge is sealed. Get upfield. It's a lot different than it was last year, where it was like, all right, put your head down and slam that thing in for 2, and then we'll see what we can do on second down.
Or nothing.
We are getting movement up front. What I'm curious about is I want to see what happens when someone schemes up good against us, against one of our coordinators. I want to see what happens when someone takes away that running game. Like when we got to put it up 50, 60 times. I want to see what that looks like. I want to see what it looks like when it looks like an offense has a scheme. Like I still want to see us in that game where we got to adjust and come out in the second half and Shang Tsung, change up on somebody. So that's something I'm still looking forward to.
Can I ask y'all a question before we go back? Because how many times are we gonna do because we do this, right? Because we've been prone to see. Look, let's keep it a buck. We've been prone to see failure. How many times are we gonna be like, oh, but we still want to see this? Like I want to see us be down by 28 points.
Always.
And see if we could come back. You know what I'm saying? Like if we were, I'll see. But if we would have been down 31, that wouldn't have happened. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. Like
Always.
I do the same shit. I was like, y'all want to see what happens when somebody runs the ball crazy and how we adjust going into the second half. You know what I'm saying? Like it's weird how we do that as fans, man. Because everything.
Well, for me, it's gonna be we're about to be in a couple of hostile environments, right? We're about to go to Chapel Hill, which is a hostile environment on the road, and we're gonna be up north in that godforsaken town.
Yeah, that's a terrible place. Terrible place.
And that's a hostile environment. You know what I mean?
Too.
NC State on the so I'm very curious to see how we handle Chapel Hill first, right? First of all, we have Georgia Tech next. Let's just
no disrespect.
Game by game.
One game at a time.
No disrespect to Georgia Tech.
We
got to handle that business. But then after that, we're on the road to Chapel Hill, man. So, it's gonna be something we gotta have to handle.
I think that's just us. That's just us as fans, bro. You're always gonna look for something. I think too, and that's that competitive thing, right? Like that you're always looking for what else? Like, oh man, we ran for 200, but like, what if we couldn't? What would that look like? I think there's always just that. Again, it's better to have those conversations, right? We're having we're trying to find things this year, right?
Yeah,
that's a fun conversation to have. Like, yeah, but what if we couldn't run? I wonder what it would look like. Versus conversations we were having last year were a lot different. We're trying to find things that we could improve because I think, like to Joe's credit, we all know that it's going to get tighter. Conference plays a little bit different. You know what I mean? They may not have film on us, but they know tendencies of some of our players, right? That they're familiar with Leonard Taylor, they're familiar with TVD, they're familiar with some of the guys we have. So it's different when you're in conference play. So I think I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing to try to find other things because they do the same thing. They didn't go into film after this game beating their chest. They went in on everything they did wrong first.
Yeah.
You got to. That's how you grow and develop. I just think that that's the mindset we have this year. It's a different mindset. It's not praying or waiting for something to go wrong. It's trying to find what might go wrong and can they fix that beforehand. I think that's all we're trying to figure out is can we find a chink in the armor that they can fix before big games versus last year it was like, okay, there's a lot of cracks in the armor and they need to fix these before big games. It's just a different conversation.
Yeah, no, you're right. Izubee, so how we'll handle this like this, man, before we get up out of here. What is your area of concern, right? Just to put going into ACC play, that you have some questions about still, and we'll leave that to the panel, and then we'll get up out of here. What you got?
The only thing I could say I would be concerned about maybe health. Obviously, little guys are nicked and knocked up right now and all that stuff because obviously, people like to say, "Oh, ACC is a soft conference," but it's still a grind, man. You're going against guys that can beat you. Obviously, we saw Boston College. That's not a big team. Almost give it to FSU, who's a top 5 team in the country rank wise. Yeah,
allegedly.
Yeah,
allegedly.
And then just that grind, like you mentioned, on the road. The first true road test up at Chapel Hill against, I think the last 3 times Miami's played UNC, they lost by 3 points every single game. We got the Van Dyke interception last year. That's going to be another tough test. You got to come out of that healthy because the next week you got Clemson at home, and then I think the next week after that's Florida State. So just staying healthy is going to be my biggest concern because we've seen what we wanted to see from each position group pretty much. Offensive line does their thing, running backs do their thing, receivers do their thing, defensive side of the ball they're doing their thing besides small things. So I've seen everything that I don't have a concern with the players. It's just can they stay healthy? Can they stay fit to last throughout the conference schedule and potentially at the end of the year conference championship and a big bowl game or not going to say they're making the college football playoff right now, but if things, look good for them, maybe even that. So stay healthy. That's kind of my biggest concern because if guys start falling in key positions and I'll start getting a little bit concerned. But that's the only thing I would say I'm kind of worried about or would be worried about going into conference play.
CB, before you go real quick, I did like how Ryan Rodriguez came in for Matt Lee. It didn't seem like much of a drop off, but just to see, like this is a guy we wouldn't have seen 2 years ago. So good on him. And now we know who our backup center is. Also that because we didn't know who that was. We didn't know who that was going to be. CB, what you got?
Keep 9 clean. If we can continue to keep 9 clean, keep the pocket clean, I think we'll be okay. I don't really have a concern per se. I just want to see more of the same. I want to see this team. Don't forget the chip you had on your shoulder when you started the season. Don't start reading them clippings. Don't forget. The motto this year is show them who we are. Don't forget that. Every week, 1-0, continue to fight. This team showed us already this year that when they get down or when they face adversity, they battle, they fight. I just want to see more of the same. I don't really have a concern. My concern is if they don't continue to be who they are. I just want them to continue to be who they've shown us. And like Izubee said, health is always the number one concern. Can we stay healthy? I don't care what conference you play in, bro. 4 quarters of football is grueling. So can you stay healthy? Can you keep your dogs healthy? And the depth, can we continue to develop that depth behind guys like Cam, guys like James, guys like Matt Lee? Can we continue to develop that depth and stay healthy and just continue to be who you've been? Just don't forget who you were when you walked into this season. Don't lose that where we want to prove a point mentality because we haven't proved shit yet. 4-0. We haven't proved anything to anybody. Temple, we were 3-0. We ain't had to deal with trolling from Temple, y'all.
Yeah.
Temple.
Facts. I know.
People talking about attendance. There were 36 fans in that stadium, and 21 of them were Hurricanes.
Most of them was ours. Yeah. Yeah, that wasn't a road game.
Don't think because we 4-0, everybody else in the country we leave them alone. We're gonna get everybody's Middle Tennessee State joke every week we play them. Show them who we are. Don't start smelling yourselves. Don't start smelling ourselves, man. I don't want to see none of that. The U is back nonsense. 1-0. Every week.
Real quick, we banned that saying. We banned that saying from this show. We are never saying that. I hate that fucking phrase.
We flip a couple people. I'm gonna say it. We flip a couple people. I'm gonna say it, and I'm throwing on that chain. All right, let's go, Joe.
on your channel, don't.
I'm going live. Right. You heard pod train.
You see what we just did, motherfucker? Just all of us laughing.
Joe's face.
I'm giving Cass the Kobe face.
He's not having it.
Joe out here
they don't let me make it with the chain or with my recruiting.
Don't put that on the show. No, recruiting excitement in December. That's when we go. That's when we go crazy.
I'm excited every day about recruiting, baby.
Wake me up in December.
All right, what? Joe, please don't ever sing on the show again.
Yeah, gas and depth, right? Kool-Aid and depth. That's my concerns, man. I don't want cats smelling it, feeling themselves, you know what I mean? Thinking because they ranked now that the work is over. 4-0, the work is over. Nah, man, we got business to handle. Just like I tweeted out after the Texas A&M game, dope win, but we got an ACC to tackle and win. So, and depth, right? I think it's great that those guys are getting experience. They're getting to play a lot. That's dope. You know, that they're getting to play a lot. So we need to develop that depth. So that's still a concern though, because you know, Matt Lee goes down, you know, Cam, Jane, somebody goes down and we have to be able to trust who's next up. But that's it, man. That's the only concern I have going into ACC.
So the next 4 games starting in ACC play: Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Clemson, and then Virginia.
That's the one.
Yeah. We don't worry, Izubee. I didn't think about Virginia either. That wasn't in the forefront of my mind at all. Yeah, look, man. As y'all said, I think it's at home though. I don't know. I don't know if it's ever
tough. It's a tough stretch coming up, B. It's a tough stretch.
Yeah, it's a crazy 6, man. Because then right after that is I think Florida State, and then you got Louisville. It's crazy.
State. And you got to go to NC State and then Louisville. Yeah, that's tough.
Because it's NC State then Clemson. That's what it was. Yeah, man. Look, depth. You know what I'm saying? It's unquestionably the biggest area of concern, just because you have a lot of juniors and seniors being followed up by true freshmen that are getting some play, maybe not. But again, like if I just use the anecdotal evidence of a Ryan Rodriguez, didn't see much of a drop off because you're thinking he's going to be swimming out there. He looked comfortable. That shows that Matt Lee's teaching him and he's learning from him. And our coordinators. Yeah, man. I don't want to see any kind of conservatism, man. That's my issue. Like when we're up, I want us to keep their foot on their motherfucking necks. I don't want to go conservative and let like, oh, we got this game in the bag. I always want to keep pressing and keep improving. I don't want to see as much defensive ends in the flat. Maybe some more, maybe that comes up with a James in the front. Just continuing to grow and improve, and not feeling like, oh, we did it because we've excised the demons of last year. No, 2023 has nothing to do with 2022. You could be the foundation of something new, but these next 4 and the next 8, every single game we want to know. So don't start smelling, don't start smelling yourselves or nothing like that, man. Just stay grounded and keep grinding, man. And y'all showing it. So yeah, that's all I got. That's all we got. Y'all got something else?
No, just keep that.
So we got Izubee here. We're not gonna ask any recruiting questions. That's ill. That's wild style right there.
Hey, I got one, but it's the same question I ask constantly. Quarterback 2024. Are we getting a second one?
I don't think so. I do not think so. I think they're staying solid with the Judd Meister.
Make cry. I like Judd, but I want 2 for depth. I just want depth. I like competition.
Transfer portal.
You're probably gonna hit the portal.
Oh,
I think you're gonna hit the portal.
Yeah. That's it. That's
I'm just saying. Never mind. There's one that I want, but I don't
there's somebody you like. Yes, we know there's somebody you like. Yes.
Turn the lights out.
You say it all the time. Like you could just say it on the show.
I ain't said.
You know what I'm saying?
So this one's fairly new. I'm just like I'm enamored with this kid and his cousin on the squad. You know what I'm saying?
My dog said enamored.
He's fast. Have y'all seen him at all? I know y'all probably watched him the past couple of years at Central, but I'm fairly new to him, and he's fascinating. Yeah,
he's
incredibly accurate.
He's legit. I mean, I watched him last year at Central. It's like if he's not playing quarterback for Central, they don't win 2 or 3 of those. Like if Chaminade beat them last week, if Lights Out's playing that game, Central is 1,000%. Like he's just a difference maker. He's a true freshman making plays for FIU. That's kind of on the come up now, doing their thing. But that'll be funny if that happened. But I don't think that. I mean, I don't know what it seems, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But that would be funny to watch.
That would be cool.
Look, with a lot of the moving parts and conferences, man, you never know who at somewhere might be like, hey, man, look what Miami doing down there. There's quarterbacks in the Pac-12 that's no longer the Pac-12. That'd be like, hey, man, come on down. Let's see what's cooking. You know what I'm saying? I think a transfer portal quarterback is what's going to happen, man. It just has to, just numbers-wise, because you're left after TVD leaves, you're just left with walk-ons and JB and Emery, right? You don't have anybody behind them.
Yeah, no. And if
that's
you
why I
need
want one more.
if you look at
You need one.
Heisman race right now, or the top quarterbacks in the country, which is Williams out in USC and Penix at Washington State, both transfers. So Penix was at Indiana. Williams came from Oklahoma. Sam Hartman's another top quarterback in the country transfer. Like, you look at that top QBs list, everybody's making moves. Everybody's coming in from a different school. So that's not saying that's the recipe for success, but it's working for a lot of these top programs that are making some noise, that are having big quarterbacks. So I definitely think Miami dips in that portal this year. That's why I feel like, and their situation too is kind of like, it's not a great situation, but you do have that showcase the true freshman. Once he gets his wheels under him, once he fine-tunes everything, he's going to be a solid quarterback. You have Jakari that flashes stuff too, so it's not a horrible situation. It's like, we have no guy this year. We need a 5-star guy to come in and be that guy right away. That's why I kind of feel like Miami's not pushing as hard. We'll add another quarterback. They like Judd. They kind of have the, not depth, but they have 2 guys that they like, and probably dip in the transfer portal. So that's why I feel like they're not, pressing to try to flip one of these big guys, but I don't think they're good. Grab number 2 guy for quarterback this year. You never know college football. Things happen. Things change every day.
Facts. When does flip season start? Is that too soon to ask?
Pull up the calendar.
It hasn't started?
I think it's starting now.
It hasn't started?
It started.
I got 5 thumbnails.
We got big boy coming. Jeremiah's coming for the Georgia Tech game. So that's going to be a big one for them. Obviously, you hope Ohio State keeps kind of looking a little iffy. So more thoughts and things start creeping up in the back of his mind. I talked to him last week. He said Coach KB was telling him, you don't have to go to Ohio State to be a good player. You can do it at home. He's like, I like that. I like when he tells me that.
It's true.
Other schools I talked to Zaquan, which was interesting. Other schools are still talking to him, but he said something kind of interesting to me. He said as long as Miami doesn't take another or like 3 or 4 more safeties, there's nothing any school can do to flip him. So he's pretty much locked in with Miami. They have 3 safeties: him, Isaiah, Dylan Day, and obviously they're recruiting Zay Mincy hard. But I feel like he's another lock, and this recruiting class looks good, man. And I think flip season, even about October, it's getting a little spooky. We'll say he'll get a little spooky in October.
Yeah, we got some big
Zay's
games
coming in at safety or corner.
Safety for sure. I love his, but I think that will be the perfect replacement for Cam Kitchens. Like, ideal.
That's interesting because I've heard corner for him, and I was like, ooh.
He can cover. But when I tell you this kid doesn't miss an open field tackle, like, he is the most down tackler. Like you said, break down choppy feet, look at the hips. Like, he is prototypical, one of the best tacklers I've seen, covering South Florida this year, and he can cover too. So I feel like he's going to be that guy. Another South Florida guy comes in on that back end and just holds it down. He's got that dog in him. Like, you see him, he's the alpha on the field when he walks on. He's that guy. He'll tighten up. He's going to be that perfect. Cam's gone. You bring in Zaquan. That's going to be a good, swip and swap match.
Okay.
Shamanon got another safety. I wouldn't mind flipping. Curtis, 21.
He's good.
That boy bad.
Yeah,
crazy range on him.
Yeah, no, he's always in the right place at the right time, and when he's there, he makes the play. I thought Miami would look at him more, but he kind of jumped off the board early and was not, a big guy on their list at all, really. But he keeps making plays, man. It's never hard to double back and try to flip him from FAU.
Facts. Joe, what you got?
Nothing, man. I want one person to flip. One. If
Ellis,
he flips to us, I'm cool. I'm good.
You gonna say names?
Ellis.
Yeah, Ellis Allen, son. Ellis Allen.
We know who it is.
That's it.
Ellis
So,
Allen.
all right. So before we get out, let's do that. Let's say you got one flip. You can ask the genie, and it will happen.
Easy.
Nope.
Who's the easy one? Izubee? Jeremiah. What are we talking about?
He can play. I think, I don't want to say it, but I think he can play in the NFL right now. That's like crazy to think, a high school kid, but physical. He's built like a grown man, and he's 16, 17 years old. I think he's 17. Runs route, crisp. He's 6'4", moves like a slot. His hands, crazy. Big catches, contest everything. The kid is like, he's going to be a first rounder, no question.
Okay.
Easy for me. David Stone. We talking
David
flips.
Stone.
We talking flips. We talking David Stone. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got dark in here. What the hell? I'm here.
The lights went out.
Yeah, the sun finally went down.
I'll say somebody different just to be different. Obviously, the answer is probably Jeremiah Smith, but to be different, Julian Sand.
Crazy.
I just want to be different.
Hell yeah.
It ain't happening. But I didn't want to say Jeremiah. We all said Jeremiah, so I'm thinking.
Nothing's impossible.
Y'all know I like quarterbacks.
Nothing's impossible.
I'm a quarterback guy, so
nothing is impossible, man.
Because I could say the other quarterback I like, but everyone knows I like him, and I just keep talking about him, and he ain't coming. But big fan of Van Buren, obviously. Smaller kid, but big fan of him. But just to not say Jeremiah, to make it fun, Julian Sand. If I could ask
that Jeremiah is number one on everybody's board. That's the easy one, yeah.
Justin Scott.
Joe,
don't hurt to. Colin Simmons.
Yeah, Ellis Allen, man.
Ellis Allen? That's pretty sure that's something, man. All right, man. We up out of here, man. Ellis the third. Numero tres. Hey, man, it's that You Heard podcast, man. As you see, Izubee's nightlight went out, so we up out of here, man. Let's go, man.